In the pantheon of Golden Age mature cinema, director Gerard Damiano is an undisputed great. His breakout 1972 hit Deep Throat arguably kick-started the so-called chic era, legitimizing genre films as both box office smashes and cultural conversation pieces. Yet tucked deep in his filmography lies a lesser-known psychedelic outlier, Odyssey: The Ultimate Trip, released in 1977. A surreal alternative triptych wrapped in symbolism and psychological angst, the film has languished in relative obscurity, a forgotten art genre relic that quietly dared to ask deeper questions about identity and human disconnection. Odyssey was a passion project for Damiano, who wrote, directed, produced, and even co-edited the film. Known for mixing genre content with sincerity, Damiano went full auteur here, constructing a three-part structure that metaphorically represents birth, life, and death. The result is more existentialist theater than typical mature film fare. Each segment stands alone, but together they paint a bleak, ironic portrait of the human condition, laced with eroticism, isolation, and fractured relationships. If Deep Throat was Damiano's crowd-pleasing leap into fame, Odyssey was his philosophical wandering, a director with the confidence to challenge his audience and to explore the outer edges of the genre. The film opens with The Beginning, featuring Robert Kerman, credited as R. Bowler, and Nancy Dare as Charlie and Diane, a miserable married couple locked in emotional warfare. Their scenes are more akin to a chamber drama rather than your standard framework for genre action. When Charlie stumbles upon a surreal brothel run by Madame Zenobia, Celia D'Argent, the film slips into a darker, more surrealist aesthetic, liminal and mysterious, with unnerving sounds and what comes across as symbolic degradation. It is dreamlike in the visual sense, but grounded in an emotional reality that is equally as visceral. The first chapter ends with the couple wearing transparent masks, the pitch-black darkness surrounding them, their bed of light, like some primordial coupling existing outside of space and time. It is the pinnacle of experimental genre content. The middle section of the movie presents a therapist and her female patients who recount stories of confusion and trauma related to past encounters. Performers like Samantha Fox, Linda Maidstone, and Gloria Leonard lend this segment a confessional tone. Instead of titillation, the flashback scenes are served as emotional autopsies, tales of shame, repression, and longing. The final act, the end, is perhaps the most impactful of the entire film. As an audience, we follow Nicole Andrews, portrayed by Susan McBain, a model and escort, navigating a day of emotional degradation and manipulation on what turns out to be the final hours of her life. She endures pressure from clients, a domineering magazine editor, worrying calls from her mother, and eventually spirals psychologically. Supporting turns in ensemble scenes, with Vanessa Del Rio and Wade Nichols punctuate her descent. As her emotional state collapses, they appear in a darkly choreographed get-together in a dream sequence that also includes CJ Lang and a masked Bobby Astir. This is followed by a self-inflicted demise that is harrowing in its method. Needless to say, I cannot depict it here. It is not an understatement to state that the film is an exploration of existential crisis, something that stands out as extremely unique when compared to any industry release before or since. Though the credits name Bayon Mitchell as cinematographer, the aesthetic bears Damiano's fingerprints. The visual style oscillates between an everyday urban realism and symbolic surrealism. Tight frames, harsh shadows, and claustrophobic mise-en-scène heighten the sense of alienation. Each segment employs its own distinct visual palette, reinforcing its thematic weight. Most of the film was shot in and around New York, with various street scenes shot for the final segment. However, most of the production was filmed using interior locations, with studios clearly used for some of the more ambitious sequences. I couldn't find any official record of filming locations, so it is hard for me to be more specific. The budget was relatively modest compared to some of the larger budget genre films being made at the time. This is reflected in the independent vibe of the entire production. Damiano self-financed the project, retaining full creative control. He really was flexing his art house muscles on this one, seemingly uninterested in providing a narrative with wider, more general appeal. Despite the financial constraints, Odyssey makes ambitious use of lighting, set design, and editing to evoke mood over spectacle. The film had its theatrical premiere in New York City on March 23, 1977, with later showings in San Francisco and Chicago. VCA Pictures then released a VHS version in '78, which, for some reason, cut out all of the Samantha Fox footage. A more recent VCX DVD version cuts even more scenes. The best way to see it currently is via a Golden Age media release back in 2005. From what I could find, this restores all the original footage from the theatrical release. There is a good reason for a modern Blu-ray calling on you Vinegar Syndrome. Restoration, mind you. Scenes intended for the beginning, notably those featuring Terry Hall and Boris Smith, were cut prior to release and have yet to surface. And if there is any chance of a proper 4K version with added commentary, I, for one, would be first in line to purchase it. The fact is, despite its high ambitions of what I believe to be a real outlier in terms of 70s industry output, the film remains elusive, both thematically and in terms of even being able to get your hands on it. Ultimately, Damiano's Odyssey: The Ultimate Trip is neither erotica nor exploitation in the traditional sense. It's a philosophical dissection of adult life and unfulfilling relationships, staged through genre content, but aimed squarely at the psyche. In its tripartite structure, Damiano crafted a rare artifact, a mature film with genuine intellectual weight. That it was ignored by mainstream critics and buried by the passage of time only adds to its mythos. For cinephiles, Damiano devotees, or anyone fascinated by the weirder corners of the Golden Age, Odyssey is a dark star worth rediscovering.